one of the most needed things in the Batman 89 to 97 reimagining was a coherent and constant casting because only two actors stayed from 89 to 97. Well, the big difference between Batman 89 through 97 and Superman 87 through 78 to 87 is that the cast primarily stayed the same. There weren't major shakeups. Superman wasn't 3 different actors in 4 different movies, and yeah, you don't really have to struggle to say, okay, this was a black actor changed to a white actor who's playing kind of the wrong character in a role. How do we make it make sense? So with that, this Superman reimagining will be much more, I'm going to assume, compact and simpler because there aren't a bunch of consistencies that need to be established because the cast was fairly consistent. So after the open rolls, Josiah will be here and I will talk about the overarching theme of Superman 78 through 87 and how I would have done my best to make it make sense. Josiah, thank you for coming back for the second ever reimagining, or I'm not even sure that's what these should be called, but whatever, hold that for a second.
The Oz vs. Superman.
So, I had a friend this week, he is like, oh, I have connections to an indie wrestling federation. If you would like for me to get you guys in communication, you can promote them and put them over on your channel. He didn't say put them over, but, basically put them over on the channel. Mm. And I was like, thanks, but also no thanks. Like, no knock on any indie fed, but the channel's primary purpose isn't for me to put other people over. Even when I do movie reviews or any topic, really, it's not so much to say, oh, this movie is awesome, that show's great. It's to let the viewer in on my mindset, my thinking. And that's why these videos are so perfect for the channel. And, they actually go hand in hand with Alpha Entertainment Worldwide and Butterfly Effect Wrestling because it's showing off or presenting my creativity, or in AEW's case, both of our creativities, and hopefully then would get the viewer interested in partaking in the stories I write. And because that's the whole reason the channel exists, is to get that word out. And so while I think it's a good idea for somebody to put over indie feds, especially if they're good, or, put down indie feds if they're not good, obviously, it's not really something I'm for. And that's also why I like the idea of the triple shot that we do, where, we make predictions or play up ideas that could work out. Because again, it's all about creativity from primarily Oz, but also Oz and his amazing friends. And so I say that because this Superman reimagining from 78 to 87 is once again me taking things that have happened and saying, well, let me have a go. And so with that, I'm not changing the 1978 movie title. Superman the movie is a good title because
it does the job.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what else do you want from a Superman origin film name? Like, you got it.
Yeah, I was about to say that's the bare minimum. Also, it's the 70s. They don't really need to be that creative. We're probably the first ones doing this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when you're big budget, bright lights, big city, all that stuff, you like simple and to the point.
Yeah, that's all you need.
But when it comes to the other 3 films, I have given them all subtitles because I thought that it fit well for the overarching story to give each film a tie-in to the everything of it all. Much how, like with Batman, I did the theme of death in the family. This quadrilogy's theme is New Krypton, bringing what once was back. And so the second film, the 1980 film, I'm subtitling, or would have subtitled, Last Stand, because it's General Zod and crew breaking out of the Phantom Zone and standing up for what they think...
Krypton.
Yeah, exactly. For what they think is right. So, in 1983, Superman 3 was just called Superman 3, but here I'm calling it Superman and the Supergirl, with the introduction of Supergirl, obviously, being the primary thing. But again, it's a tie back to Krypton. And then the fourth and final film, instead of Quest for Peace, I'm calling Superman New Krypton.
Yeah.
And so it will be the fulfillment of the thing that was started from 78 and ended in ends in 87. And how might I begin that breadcrumb trail, or that yellow brick road to get us from the movie to the New Krypton? The most important piece that is missing to me in the 70s through 80s films to get to a New Krypton is something that I fell in love with from Superman the Animated Series. And that is Brainiac being a part of Jor-El and the Council of Elders communication, if you will, system when Krypton was on its last legs, dying days.
Indeed.
And so, just like with Batman, before I can cast somebody in the role of one of these films, they have to be actively acting. Because it's a cheat if I don't play that.
It's like, I want
Well, I'll tell you.
I'll
tell you this: the person I thought would have made a perfect Brainiac, the first time I heard his robotic voice, was Wentworth Miller, the man who would go on to be Michael Scofield in Prison Break and Captain Cold in The Flash / a ton of other tie-in shows.
Yep,
but
I do remember him.
Wentworth Miller is not the appropriate age in 1978, and I mean, I don't know. I didn't check. It didn't matter. He could have been not alive for all I know. But so I just went with who else could deliver a very believable robotic voice, and so I looked up and discovered that 2 years before 1978, so 1976, Brent Spiner did his first recognized acting role. Do you know who Brent Spiner is?
No clue.
Well, you will know, because have you ever watched Star Trek?
Yeah.
Next Generation, specifically?
Yeah, the Next Generation I've seen that.
Okay, he's Data.
Oh, okay.
But here's the other reason why I know you'll recognize Brent Spiner as soon as I tell you another role that he plays years later, that being the Joker in Young Justice.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I do remember that.
And so Brent Spiner's ability to sound mechanical, robotic, non-organic,
I didn't know it was
in The Next Generation was why I brought him in to be a part of, let's just say that his voice is present when Jor-El is in conflict with all the other shiny suited folks there.
Yeah, really shiny, man. Like
post General Zod getting sent off to the Phantom Zone. And so, other than the addition of the voice acting of Brent Spiner in the first film, I'm taking away the time travel aspect because I thought it was cheap, and
it was.
There's a thing that is often said about Superman that I don't like,
which is
that he's overpowered.
That's not saying. That's just correct.
Well, I disagree because to me it's a cop out, right?
Yeah.
Because to say he's overpowered is a crutch to lean on to say he's boring.
Oh, no. I would never say that. All those powers are quite interesting.
Exactly. I'm not saying you, but there are people that use that as the jumping off point to say, well, I couldn't get into a Superman. He's overpowered.
Yeah, I mean, he can throw that S on his chest and it turns into vinyl or something.
Yeah, and so my point is, I take that away, that moment, because the easiest solution is just have Superman save Lois and not have to turn back time.
What a concept.
And so the actors remain the same. Gene Hackman is still Lex Luthor. So Terrence Stamp is still Zod. His whole crew is the same.
Yeah, same.
Reeves is the same. There's no reason.
I'm about to say there's no recasting in this movie.
No need.
If nothing else, there's
it's just addition of the voice of Brent Spiner as the Brainiac
voice.
I'm gonna say AI for the lack of a better terminology of.
You can say Brainiac machine.
Sure. I was just gonna say the artificial intelligence of Krypton, but like you said, he could just be a machine.
Yeah.
But the reason I like
70s didn't have AI. So.
Sure, and I'm sure they wouldn't call him that, but the overarching ability of the Brainiac machine to be both with the elders and inside the craft that Kal-El is traveling in is why I use AI as like a broad concept.
Sure.
Because instead of Jor-El giving baby Kal-El information in the ship and then subsequently in the Fortress of Solitude, I thought that it would be smart if Brainiac is telling history in the ship while it's traveling, so hear Brent Spiner, and it's an excuse why he's on planet Earth, or it is on planet Earth.
When it comes to the end of the movie.
And
which is good, because they don't pay Marlon Brando for these other movies, so...
Yeah,
that would save them some money.
Yeah, and so that way when you get to the Fortress, Jor-El voice can be used, and Brent Spiner's voice can be used in the ship travel scenes. But yeah, the first movie primarily stays the same. You know, you have a few changes here and there. I think I would actually cut down the build up and get to the actual Superman Christopher Reeve stuff sooner, preferably.
I don't know. I feel like that. I think that was an important part of the movie. His powers.
I'm not saying it's
why
bad.
he's such a great Boy Scout.
Yeah, not saying it's bad. It's just personal preference. I tighten it up a little, but again, tighten up the beginning, change up the ending, but primarily the beats.
Same stuff.
Yeah, the beats. And so with the second film, again, this one is called Superman Last Stand. And it's because Zod is making his last stand with his crew of Non and Ursa. And much like the first one, where we had Brainiac as the outlying villain, we had Luthor as the primary villain, and the knowledge of General Zod as the secondary villain. This one, Zod and Luthor switch places, where Zod is primary, Luthor is secondary. But still present and important. Thank you for being here at Mr. Super Oz. This video is going out, and this channel only exists because I, Oz, founded Gamble Comics, which first release was Everlasting Survivors, a 68-page graphic novel called All Day Long. Available now. Follow the link in the description that will take you to gamblecomics.com. While there, you can get hats, shirts, posters, much, much more. But most importantly, the story itself. The general concepts, the beats are the same. Superman wants to give up his powers to be with Lois. He has to, he does it because...
successfully give up his powers.
To be with Lois, but then he has to relinquish that, give up to... Then,
he has to get back.
Get back in the game to stop the bad guy.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
Still get his ass kicked by some random guy in a bar.
Yeah, just to prove a point of the...
wow, he's a weak little bitch. Oh, he can't fight.
And so, like I said, the primary beats stay the same. Maybe clarify the ending more because there's a debate of death or not death, killing, not killing. And even the actors who play the Kryptonians say, well, we shot scenes to prove we're not dead.
Yeah.
But because of the way that it all came out and in the wash.
I'm about to say, because...
people use that as Henry Cavill's defense.
Right. It was like, well, Henry Cavill killed Zod and Christopher Reeve killed Zod. What's the difference? Well, Zod just fell into a giant hole. He didn't really die.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, but it's actually films 3 and 4 where the big changes occur.
There we go.
Because, when you've got top quality stuff going on, it's... No
I mean, those are the two best movies out of these four.
Of course. So, Superman and the Supergirl starts out with Kara Zor-El's craft coming to Earth.
Sure.
And so, as good common sense, she's in the title, we'll open with that. But much like how Brainiac was in Kal-El's ship, there is something on Kara's ship that she doesn't know is coming with her, but it was actually placed there.
At a stowaway.
Stowaway, I like that. It was placed there by the literal, physical big bad of the film, because her craft gets knocked off course. She was supposed to be Kal-El's protector, but now he's an adult, she's a teen. Speaking of teens, right, speaking of teens, just like how Brent Spiner was acting and he brought him to the first and second film, well, Supergirl is cast as the It girl from 1983, Molly Ringwald.
Cool.
Blonde, popular. I mean, often she's redhead, but in this film she's blonde,
She's
redhead.
blonde because
the character. Yeah. Exactly. And so
play the role.
So she
did she have her own movie? And I don't remember if she did.
It came out the year after. It was she was played by Helen Slater, but I've wiped that out of history because it's unnecessary due to her introduction in this and continuation into New Krypton.
Cool. I didn't know it existed, so no change for me.
For sure. I'll probably put it on the channel to watch next year with the Supergirl movie coming out. Yeah. So it's like, might as well
check it out.
That.
Yeah.
It'll be my first viewing.
Yeah, cool. I'm about to say, I'll watch a review to see how it is because I don't plan on watching it.
Cool. So, like I said, she's introduced and there's a stowaway on the ship, much like how in Spider-Man the Animated Series, Venom was a stowaway on the
rocket ship.
Yeah,
got it.
But like I said, it was intentionally placed there by
a villain,
the true big bad of the film, who placed Black Mercy on Supergirl's ship to weaken or distract Superman, and this big bad is Mongol. Mongol, who is a literal big bad in this, is played by a man that was acting prior to 1983.
Okay. Who we got?
I will say this for a fact. He isn't verbally spectacular, but Mongol doesn't have to speak perfect English. He just has to be intimidating and
have that presence.
Yes, have a very imposing presence while going up against Superman. And so that's why I cast Andre the Giant as Mongol.
Great. That's great.
And so while Superman is distracted by Black Mercy taking him over, unlike the animated series where it shows him, it's called The Man Who Has Everything, and he sees himself in a world.
One of the best episodes from that series.
So good. So I'm actually
absolutely amazing.
I'm actually taking it a different direction.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to just rip off something that's great. Like if you want to watch that greatness, tune into that.
Yeah.
What I'm using Black Mercy as is a way to get into Superman's head and have him fight a dark version of himself.
This is how we get evil Superman.
Exactly. And so the way I see it is, as the fight's going on, the evil Superman can actually crack and break and turn more and more into Bizarro. That way that we get a pseudo-Bizarro fight, whereas it's not real, it's just in his head. But Mongol...
But we get that little Bizarro moment.
Exactly. So Mongol is attempting to come and conquer Earth, but while he's making his way, there's another villain on Earth who's being taken out by Kara because...
Supergirl.
The Supergirl, exactly. And I thought, you know what? Let's keep Richard Pryor. I like him.
Just in general.
Yeah, he's a great presence, but his character in Superman 3 isn't real. And you know me.
Isn't real, doesn't make any sense.
Isn't necessary either. It's like you can give Richard Pryor a character that makes sense. And so with that, I have recast Richard Pryor as Winslow. Do you know who that is? Toyman.
Toyman?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I thought...
I didn't know that was his real name.
Yeah. And so I did it with the intent of making him a very technological toy man. So if it's like an RC car, he can hack into soup it up, take it out, have it rob stuff, right?
Okay.
Because I thought Pryor was fun.
That's essentially what he did with the hacker gimmick.
Exactly.
In the other movies. So
the hacker gimmick, and so when Superman breaks free after defeating the Pseudo Bizarro, Supergirl takes down Toyman, and then Superman flies into space, goes at it on the moon with Mongol, and so we close out. We're in Smallville, everything's cool. And so in Smallville, when Superman is introducing to his mom,
I'm assuming Pop's still dead.
Yeah, he died in the first film, just like the first one. So he bumps into his former love interest,
Lana Lang.
Exactly, and she is still played by Annette O'Toole because I like
why recast.
Not only why recast, that's a great point, but I really like the interesting nature of Christopher Reeve's first love interest from Smallville, Lana Lang, going on to be his mom in Smallville because the TV show.
That was great.
Yeah. So I keep her around because that's good stuff.
Valid.
And so it's a reason for us to go to Smallville, meet his
family.
Yeah, everything. Get back with Ma and find Lana from the.
Was Ma still alive in the third film? I can never remember because I know she died.
It's been a long time. Yeah, it's been a long time since I watched. But in this version, in this Oz version, she will be alive in movie 3.
Yeah, because I can't remember if she had passed away before he went to. Because I think they both died in the first film, in the original movies.
I really like having at least one of them alive for a while. My goodness.
They killed him all because he was selling the farm in the fourth movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, not in this fourth movie. There ain't no quest for peace here. In New Krypton, we open with Brent Spiner taking physical form. So for the first time, in the 3 prior films, he's just been a voice from the craft. He's been conveying messages, but here he's after a lot of years we'll say. He's pieced and parted things together, and now Brainiac is physical. So physical, in fact, that he is able to infect others with things that will transform them. So, there's a man that, much like Richard Pryor, played a non-existent character in the 4th film. That man was Mark Pillow. He played Nuclear Man.
Nuclear Man, okay.
But here, I'm having Brainiac, played by Brent Spiner, infect him with kryptonite, which will then make the primary part of his body metal, making Mark Pillow Metallo. And so...
I didn't realize Toyman and Metallo were this older characters.
Oh, they are. Yeah, they've existed quite some time.
Yeah. I know Brainiac came out, what, 50s, I think?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, around the 50s.
But, that was one of the big things that I had to do was make sure that the characters existed as well. Not just the actors were acting, but the characters existed because there was a part of me that wanted to cast Helen Slater, the actress who played Supergirl in her standalone film, as Livewire. But Livewire didn't exist until the 90s.
Yep.
And so what I did
makes sense when you look at her look.
Oh, of course. And so what I did was I had Brainiac infect Lana Lang in Smallville and create the Insect Queen, which is another character that she has played in the comics, Lana Lang, that is. Mm-hmm. And so Supergirl and Superman are distracted fighting the Insect Queen.
And Metallo.
Exactly. Once they have got them subdued, they, as heroes, realize, as a team, they realize, what do we need to take down this machine, Brainiac?
This brain maniac.
This brain maniac, I like that. So that is when Superman and Supergirl enlist Toyman and Lex Luthor to use their intellects to stop Brainiac. And so New Krypton is not brought to life by Brainiac, and we see Gene Hackman and Richard Pryor a little bit in the third act.
I was about to say reprise their roles.
Yeah, in the third act to help take down the biggest villain of them all.
Poor John Cryer didn't get his big break.
Well, he can be the link that brings them to to Gene Hackman. Like,
Okay,
I like John Cryer enough to where that he can be.
I'm about to say, so I completely forgot he was in that movie until I rewatched it. But then I'm like, oh, right, Alan from 2.5 Men.
Well, not just that, but he also plays Lex Luthor.
Yeah, which is so funny.
Oh, it's great.
And the funny part is, he's an excellent Lex Luthor in Supergirl.
Yeah.
Like scary good.
Yeah, no, I think he's big time talent.
Yes.
But yeah,
absolutely.
By doing things in this way, we not only have 4 coherent Superman films.
Yep.
We have Supergirl elevated to a whole new level where you don't have to say, "Oh, I never watched her movie" because she's in his movies. You get, I think, a maximum of 10 villains if you count. Yeah, so
6.
And then all 3 of the.
10.
Yeah, and so it's just a way to accentuate the Superman mythos because. Much like how I don't like the term overrated, I also don't like the concept that people think, oh, Superman's got no good villains. I'm like, no, just because they choose.
That's not accurate.
Just because they choose to keep recycling the same and the same and the same. Yeah. Like, it's not Superman's fault. It's not the writer's fault. It's just Hollywood.
Well, yeah, it's definitely Hollywood's fault.
Yeah, exactly. It's just Hollywood not making the right decisions.
Yeah.
So.
Honestly, yeah. Like I said, I'm not as big a Superman fan as I am a Batman fan.
For sure.
But I do still like Superman.
Well, just imagine a world where the only people that Batman ever showcased were Joker
and Catwoman.
Yeah, probably.
And
because that's pretty much all they do is Zod or Luthor.
Joker, Catwoman, and maybe Ra's al Ghul.
Probably, yeah.
Probably be the 3.
But yeah, thanks for playing the game. It's
absolutely
so much fun, and yeah, this is definitely something I'm going to play around with as time goes on. Just how would I have done it?
Yeah.